go and I will record it. So now after this training, you'll have access to a video presentation of exactly what we're going to go through today.
Great.
Okay.
Hi, Katie. Duffy's here.
Hi, Duffy. So,
Yeah.
my name is Katie, Katie Moss. I work here with STAR. I'm in the online training department. I'm one of 3 people who respond to our help desk and kind of take care of any customer questions that we have or look for tutorials, things like that. I also have with me today Rachel Paulson. She's another member of our help desk. She'll be able to help us out too. So hello. We have both an email and a phone number to reach us, and I'll show you that in just a moment. And those 2 communications, the email and the phone, both ring to myself, Rachel, and another person, Ketty, here. So if you ever have questions, one of us is going to reply to you and answer any questions you might have. So with that, I will go ahead and get started. I'm going to preface to say that there is, we are in the middle of a transition, actually a major upgrade. Our Advanced 360 is our vendor for the learning management system, and they've taken some of our recommendations and some of our requests for upgrades, and they're implementing them right now. So we have about 80 sites that are going through an upgrade right now. So your site is going to be created brand new and fresh in our fancy new system. So we're looking at probably the beginning, the next couple weeks here, we'll have that site up and running, and at that time we'll get you your username and your login. In the meantime, I will provide you a spreadsheet, and we can get all of your employees uploaded into your new system. So you'll have that ready to go. So I will get that spreadsheet over to you, Mindy, after this call today. Mindy, you have a login, right?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
For your select training, did you get a login for that?
Yes, I have one, yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So then any trainings that are being completed through that route between now and the time that your site is set up, those will be transferred to the new site as well. So at the time that your site's ready to go, everything that you've completed already will be in the system for you.
So I have a question on that. We're not able to use the system for all of our employees until we have our new site. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yep. Yep. Like I said, we're right in the middle of some upgrades.
And how long
we're looking at about a week or 2, probably a week or 2. And you won't be billed until that site is live and working. So probably beginning of May we'll be working on that. But yes.
Okay. We've got feedback here. Maybe I should hang up.
Yeah, I know. I'm hearing that too.
Yeah. Another question. So in the new LMS system advancements or whatever they're doing, I know some of them that you can brand to the company. Is that something that's available? Just curious.
Absolutely. Yes, of course. And I can make sure it gets done. I'll actually pull up another site that has a branded look, just to show you kind of what that looks like. So yeah, if you have a logo, certainly if you have color schemes or anything specific that you'd like implemented into the system, we have the option to customize the color scheme and customize the logo. So let's see.
Okay. And is that something that we do on our end, or should I send you like a brand guide?
Yeah, if you have a standard, send it over to me. I'll take care of it for you. I'll be happy to do that. It's something you certainly can do. It's a lot of coding and that kind of stuff, if that's something you or your team has an interest in. Otherwise, I'll be happy to take care of that for you.
Okay. We might do it ourselves. I'll think about that because we're pretty versed in that. So.
Oh, good deal. Well, so yeah, this is kind of a look of one of the sites that's been, it's in the middle of branding. We have some things that we want to change yet, but under the admin tab, it's really easy to go onto the settings, and there's application settings, and there's a custom style sheet. that will be located here, and then you'll just be able to kind of customize the colors and the look and feel. So it's a really cool way to make it your own.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm glad to hear that. It's kind of a fun addition.
Yeah, and initially your site will be branded to Star, so it'll just look like this with the gray and the burgundy there. But again, it's pretty easy to find those colors and just change them up. So like I said, we will let you know when that's available here. We're just kind of working through these upgrades. So this is the home page. This is the most basic look for the home page, but it is fully customizable. Under the dashboard here, we have widgets, and this is where you can actually turn on and off a ton of different options and views to customize the admin view, customize your personal view. Students can have access to some of these if you want students to be able to customize their view. We do default it so that students have access just to the My Courses widget, so that when they log in, the first thing they see is the courses that they have still available and where they're at in their progress. So if they're halfway done, if they haven't started, that kind of thing. So that's the first thing that students will see, and typically we find that's the most important thing for them to see. But you can customize all of this to see exactly, you know, what kind of things you want to view upon login. And so that would affect your home page, which right now we have course alerts and certificates available, and then your logins. So we just have a few of these items on our home page. And then probably the most important feature that I always like to point out first, because it's on the home page and it seems like it's something that you would want to find under admin, is actually called offline reporting or a training records report. So under reports and offline reporting, this is where you'll go to actually run a training record report for completed or incomplete courses for all of your staff. We have a number of options here to do some sorting, active, and you can choose inactive users depending on what kind of report you're looking to run. You can run a report on just a single person if you need to. And then one of my favorite features here is that we actually have sites, job titles, and cost centers. So each of these three items can be assigned to any one user. So a user can be assigned to one site, one job title, and one cost center. And it gives you a lot of flexibility in able to enroll according to those groups. You can run reports like this based on just those groups. So if you wanted, let's say you had house A, B, and C, if you want to run a report to see everything that house A and house C has completed, you could select both of those and then run that report to see just those completions. So a number of different ways to run those reports and get exactly the results that you want on the first try. We have a hire date selector. We also have, these are training filters, and these are applied per course in the training settings. So this gives you a chance to kind of section your the training. Our online trainings, for example, are all selected as online. If you choose to add offline trainings, which are records of trainings that happened in person, your CPR, first aid, a hold demo, even down to, you know, a staff meeting, a monthly staff meeting, any of that kind of stuff can be added to these training records. So all of your records are held in one place. So,
love it.
Yes, that's a fun feature. So we have these number of different training filters that you can sort by if you want to. And then your content is offline courses and lessons. We will always recommend to unselect lessons. And the reason for that is within each of our courses, we have lessons. And so when we're running a report, if we choose both courses and lessons, it's going to show you both completed courses and completed lessons, which actually duplicate each other. So we typically recommend include content only for offline and courses, and in this case, we're going to run a completed record. You can run a report based on a specific course if you choose. And in this case, we're going to leave the start and end date for just the entire year of 2018. And when we hit save, it's going to take a minute to run, and then we'll get a full record report of any completed courses according to the parameters that I've chosen. And it's all sectioned off by students. So we have a student, and these are the 2 courses he's finished, and so on. And they all total up the hours at the bottom of each section for every student. And then you can export this here at the top of the page. And that opens it up in an Excel document.
That's way cool.
That is way cool. So,
Yeah.
question on that. So, say we have a course that someone needs to complete annually. Is there any way? Would it alert them like you're overdue for this, or not really?
How about yes and?
Great.
These upgrades, so we've got, some major changes that have come out of requests that we've provided to Advance. And from what I understand, that is a feature that has been implemented here in this new system. We haven't quite gotten to the point to discover it and kind of work with it. So we want to verify that it's 100%, it's working exactly like we want it to work before we go and release it. So as we learn those kind of things, as we understand the new features that we're being offered, we will be releasing those. So you can expect to hear about that probably in the summer here, pretty quickly.
Okay.
So I believe that is a feature. If not, you can always run a report based on a specific time frame and sort that Excel document according to that annual training. So there are other options, but I believe there is a way coming to have those alerts show up. So
okay.
I will make sure that's kind of one of those first things on my list after we convert everybody. So we're looking forward to really exploring the new stuff. To show you to add an offline training, so for example, let's say I attended a CPR training and I want to add that to my training record, we would just go to Add New while we're here in the training records. And here we can search. There I am. And you can just add, you can add multiple students. And there's Rachel too. We're going to add both of hers. We both have an admin account and a student account. So what that means is we can log in as an admin and make the admin changes, and it's just an easier view to have a separate account for students. So that's something to keep in mind if you do choose to have a unique admin account. You'll want to have a separate admin account from a user or a student account. In this case, we're just going to add them to all of our records. You can choose a facilitator if it was someone specific who trained us. So in this case, let's say Teddy, the other person here in online training, she trained us. In this case, we're going to call it a classroom format. Source, new hire, these are all additional features for sorting. One of the best ways I've seen source used, as an example, is we've seen a company use the source for the people that they support. So they've actually created a source for each individual. So in, JD, for example, you just use the initials. And that way, anytime they enter a training regarding that person, they apply that source to the training record. And what that means is then you can sort that training and run a report based on anybody who's trained on that particular person and something applied to them.
That's great.
Yeah, it's kind of a
That's so
helpful way
great.
to keep track of all of those, all the trainings that everybody does every day, and follow up and see who has completed something, who hasn't. So we really like that that use that we've seen. So in this case, we're saying we went to CPR yesterday. You can choose a date, and then your duration. You're just going to choose how long it took. Let's say it's 5 hours. A grade if that's applicable. Your title, you can choose from any of these titles here, or if you choose other, it actually populates a new field for your title. So we're going to call it CPR First Aid. And then notes, any notes that you want. Notes are especially helpful for like your staffing meetings if you want to just include a quick reference of what was covered during a staffing meeting. And then when we hit save, it takes a minute to run, brings us back to this home page. Now when I go to search for myself, and I'm going to just choose offline and courses, we'll leave the date range there, we hit save, it's going to pull that up, and this is that training that I just added. So those 5 hours have been added to the rest of the training that I've completed. a really helpful way to get all of your training records in one place. If you have, since you have, 87, 85 employees, doing this one by one might be a little bit cumbersome. You can actually use a import. And so there's a sample file. You can download the sample Excel document, enter the information there, and import everything all at once.
That's very good. I can do that for CPR and first aid when I issue cards, and it is a smooth way to do it, way smoother than one at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. It's yeah, we like this feature. We like being able to keep, all of the training records in one place rather than having to search for things, You can just run a report. It's proven to be very helpful for licensing visits too. We've had several of our online customers go through licensing visits recently, and the ability to just, pull a complete record at a whim streamlines and alleviates some of the stress of a visit like that. Okay. So that was that's like I said, I always point that one out first because the training records are on the home page, and usually the training records are the ones that are most accessed. One thing I forgot to mention at the top of the meeting here is we actually do have a online welcome pack and online quick guides for you. So I'm sure you're taking your feverish notes, but we are recording this training as well. And then we have this page here, and I'll send this to you, starservices.com/advanced. These are all of our quick guides. So these are step-by-step instructions on everything that you're going to need to get your staff registered, set up a new staff, run a training records report. All of those things are going to be helpful right here. And you'll have access to these. If you're looking for additional training records or additional quick guides, let me know. I'm always interested in, what kind of quick guides are going to work for you, what tutorials are you looking for, and, we'll build those based on what you need. I don't make this system so nobody can use it. So I want to make sure we give you the tools to do that. So these guides can be very helpful. The student information guide here, this is specific for students, so you could actually provide this to your staff, and it tells them kind of how to view the courses, what to do if they get locked out of a test, and even a helpful hint that login tabs, page views, test answers, and the amount of time they actually spend in the lessons is visible to administrators. So skipping the video affects your grade. Believe it or not, some staff will try to skip the videos. And we always try to make sure they understand that they shouldn't do that. So that's one thing that we have added to the student information so they understand, watching the videos is important. Most of our tests do specifically refer back to sometimes it's a story or a current event, something in the training that's really specific to the training, just so we make sure staff are understanding the content before they move forward. Here under courses, so this is where you can actually view all of the courses that we have available. We are always developing new courses. Right now in line we have two more sections of dementia. So we have an introduction to dementia that we've just released, in addition to fetal alcohol syndrome course. And we have two more courses on dementia that'll be coming, kind of furthering the person-centered support with a person who has dementia. So that will be coming. We have one on autism that I believe is on the docket as well. And then if there's anything you're looking for, if there's a specific topic or topics that you would like to see and you're not sure if we have, or you would like, we don't have and you want it, let us know. We're always interested in learning what courses you're looking for. And, certainly if it's something that's applicable to you, we'd be interested. And a lot of times if you like it and if you want it, somebody else does too. So it's, we're interested in, feeding that need and building courses based on what people actually want. So please do let us know anytime you have a suggestion. We have our first course live. Yes.
I have a quick question about that. Okay, so that first topic, I actually would printed out the online training course library, and I didn't see that first, the core positive support rule core on there, and now I see it on here. But so I was wondering about that. So an orientation, is it generally the core plus the orientation for direct care staff, or is the core separate, or how's that supposed to look when people are doing it in real, like how do people usually do that?
That's a great question. So as you know, 245D has a ton of fun requirements for orientation and for your annual. And so for orientation, we do have this quick guide as well, 245D and Positive Supports Rule Orientation. Leanne might have shared this with you. It just lists out the topics, if they're required annually, and if an online course fulfills that requirement. STAR does fulfill most of the requirements with the exception of anything company specific or any of those physical demonstrations that we just haven't figured out how to do online yet. And so in addition to this, we do have the courses here, and most typically, so yes, the Positive Supports Rule Core and Orientation for Direct Care Staff, both of those are going to be required. And our portfolios terms, so this is a term, and terms are just a phrase for a group of courses. And we've grouped our portfolios into groups of courses that are applicable in this order. So these are all numbered. So for example, if I were a new staff, I would be enrolled in Mandated Reporting, the Positive Supports Rule Core, and the Orientation for Direct Care Staff. Those are my first 3 courses, and those are the ones that I need to do first. And so that's why we've numbered them, so that when staff see them, these are actually going to come up first and in this order. Staff need to complete mandated reporting first. They need to have Positive Supports Rule done right away after that. And then the orientation is within 60 days. So they have a little bit more time. Orientation includes documentation, data privacy, bloodborne pathogens, fraud, and one more that I always forget. And rights. So we have.
Are we able to create our own portfolios?
Absolutely. Yep, I can kind of run through that in a minute. I'll get through the courses, and then we can kind of talk about what would work for you. So we have those courses available. Each of these courses will produce one certificate. So the certificate for Orientation for Direct Care Staff, that certificate will list out the courses that are included, the topics that are included in the course. If you prefer, you certainly can enroll staff in individual courses, bloodborne pathogens, data privacy, all of those. It's entirely up to you, kind of, if you're looking for individual certificates or if having one and done is helpful to you. We also have your medication course, community residential setting, that's required if it's listed in the CSSP or addendum. And so those are ADLs, IADLs, and healthy diet. Our mental health fundamentals course, and the severe mental illness orientation, again, if that's required under the CSSP, that includes suicide and crisis response. So those are our portfolios. And then the full course library includes all of those courses broken out individually along with your annual trainings, these annual trainings here. And then each of the mental health courses, in addition to the extra mental health courses that we have, including borderline personality disorder, hoarding, the other courses, we also have diagnosis specific, including low vision. So a number of other courses here are available. And also at the end of that full course library term, we do have these other courses that start with a little squiggly line, a tilde there. And what those are, these are actually breakouts. These are additional courses. These are pulled from our main courses. So for example, doctor and dental appointments is pulled from the meds course. And the reason we did that is we had a number of requests to just review certain topics from our main courses. So these courses don't necessarily fulfill a single requirement, but they're parts of a requirement that sometimes it's helpful just to review again. So maybe you want staff to just review again de-escalation techniques. The description does note that the content is included in the Positive Supports Rule Core in the course library, but it's intended for a review of that de-escalation technique. So helpful ways to kind of add some reviews to your agendas if you do that. We've seen a lot of people taking med errors recently, just as a review, you know, if something happens, or sometimes just nice to remember how things are supposed to be. So yes, but if you do want to create your own portfolios, you certainly can. You can add to any of the courses that we have. I know I have some customers who will add maybe their personal policies or company policies right into our courses. So after they complete their training on the topics we've created, they're also cycled into taking a review of the policies. You can certainly do that. Otherwise,
I have a question on that. So say we modified one of the existing portfolios that are pre-set up. If there are any state rules or whatever that change those portfolios that are pre-set up and we've modified it, would we get the update?
Yep.
Does
So
that make sense what I'm asking?
It sure does. It sure does. Anytime there's updates, legislative updates, or changes to definitions, anything like that, we do update any of the courses that apply to that. If there are customizations, so for example, let's say you took mandated reporting and you added your policies or added additional trainings to this course. The additional trainings wouldn't be updated automatically. Your policies wouldn't be updated, but the content within this training would be, because that's a training that has already been created and that is still linked to our master site. So any changes that we create to our master are also added to those. And we'll send an email, so even if you do build another portfolio that's just unique to you, we will let you know. We will send an email and say, and usually send several emails with the legislative updates. And then if you have additional trainings that you need updated, you just let us know and we can do that for you.
Okay.
Yep, we're always on the lookout for all those fun legislative changes.
Right.
Last year we had rights, and the challenge when rights came through was that so many people had already gone through rights and completed it that we actually ended up creating a new version of rights with all of the legislative changes. And the reason for that is we wanted to make sure staff were adequately trained on everything that had changed. And rather than just updating parts of that course, we built a brand new one.
Sure.
And that seems
Yeah,
to be
there's enough of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And that's kind of the bulk of our courses. I'm going to hop into one of these courses to show you what it looks like to manage from the inside. So from the admin view, we have the chance to review the course attendees, so everybody who's currently enrolled in the course. I want to caution you here while we see this drop line, the drop link, to drop a student or drop a course from a student's list drops their training records. So we don't want to use the drop feature unless it was a mistake. And that's just something we've learned from many unfortunate experiences, that dropping that, those completed trainings, we can get them back. That's the wonderful thing, is that nothing in the system is ever really gone or deleted. We can always go back in and fix things from the backside, but it can be frustrating or scary if you do it by mistake. So just use that drop function only when there was an accidental enrollment. And I've had a few of those myself, so that happens. While you're in the course here, if you go to lessons, you have lesson progress overview. And this is a great way to get a quick glance at where your staff are at. So this is one student. There's 2 lessons in this course, and so they've actually completed both of the lessons. You can scroll down and see, it looks like most people have actually completed their lessons. This staff hasn't quite started it. Sometimes they'll have completed half of it, so maybe one lesson is showing as complete and one's showing as incomplete. So it's a good way to get a glance of where your staff are at with a particular training. We also have tests, and this is always a fun one. You can actually go to review and grade, and you can see when, what staff took the training, when they actually took the test, and how long it took them. And if you click on a student, you can actually see what grade they got, what questions they received, and what they got right and wrong. Now, most of our test questions have, most of our tests have 15 questions, and each test, when it's generated, cycles 10 questions. So every time the test is generated, you get a few different questions. It's an attempt to make sure that learning is broad, make sure staff are really understanding the content, and that they're getting a unique set of questions every time. So if they do have to take it again, they can't just memorize the answers. So this is a good chance to review this test. So this student in particular got 70 out of 100%. We default the training to staff have 5 attempts to reach 80% passing rate, and once they reach that 80% passing rate, the test is then considered complete. You can change that, but 80% is typically, you know, they can get 2 wrong, so that's usually pretty good. So this staff got 70. He was prompted to take that test again, and it looks like he passed it on his second try with 100%. So he might have gone back and reviewed it again. In this particular case, I know this company or this manager likes to review the content with the staff again before they go on. So he probably got a good review before moving on. Occasionally, we will see those staff who reach 5 attempts and still don't pass. When that happens, they're actually locked out. They can't access the course anymore, and they are prompted to speak with their supervisor or contact online training department to get a reset. We typically won't reset a test for a staff unless you've given us permission to do so. You know, the supervisor has that discretion. Maybe they want to review something again. So unless you've given us that permission, we will typically refer your staff back to the supervisor. But in this case, let's say we had somebody who reached those 5 attempts and still didn't pass. You can actually go to reports. And this is one of my favorite reports. You have time taken on lessons. When we run that report, we're going to actually see how long people are spending in the lessons. And this can be enlightening sometimes. And yep, it proves to be yet again. So we have, you know, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. Now this staff might be somebody who's spent several years in the field. They know this stuff like the back of their hand. And that's all well and good, but it still might be troubling if they're still not passing the test. So it's a good chance to have that review, and if you choose to address it with the staff directly. We have other reports here, including time taken on tests. We will typically, here at STAR, we like the test detail because this gives us a chance to look at the test questions that anybody's getting and how they're doing, if they're doing, if certain questions more people are getting wrong or correct than not. It gives us a chance to just kind of check ourselves and make sure we understand how our test questions are doing and if we can change them to make a little bit more sense or make sure we apply the content in the training appropriately. So it's one of the ways that we follow up on evaluating our courses. Any questions at this point on how the courses work themselves?
No, I don't think so. I'm good about that. I went through and did the 2 trainings I chose, and they were fairly self-explanatory. I had no trouble as far as like understanding what it wanted me to do next.
Oh, excellent.
So yeah, so I had no trouble. I don't think other people would necessarily have too much trouble either, but I really like all of the admin capabilities. That's going to be very, very helpful in making sure that they're learning what what they need to be learning. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have when we create a course, so we build all of our courses here in-house. We have a number of subject matter experts, not only people who have studied this stuff, academically, but also have worked in the field, and they know they have those personal stories that can be a much more powerful teaching agent than just reading off the definition. And so we take those subject matter experts and we take their experiences and we really try to push the training into an applicable, person-centered way of teaching the content without being boring. There's plenty of trainings out there that are really boring, and frankly, I just don't think that speaks well to educating the staff that we need them to the level that we need them to be at. So I'm glad to hear it. All right, so then some courses. I will go into the admin tab and show you all of the super fun features we have in the admin tab. First, we have the config and settings, the application settings and general settings. I typically don't address too much, but it seems like you guys really have a good handle on that. So like I said, we do have a style sheet, and this is the code that we have for the style, the colors, all of that. And feel free to kind of play with this. You really can't break it. I will say that once you save it, so if you do change colors or something, once you save it, you do have to log out and log back in to see the changes applied. But all of these are fairly self-explanatory. You can upload your logo here, including your icon and even a background image from the home page. Your theme, so this theme, and I actually have a different quick guide. It's more of my own personal notes about all of these settings, but I can send that to you as well, because like I said, I think you guys understand that a bit better than some of our other customers, so you might have a chance to customize a little bit more than most.
Yeah, that would be good to see. I'm assuming your themes just choose a different style sheet that you can modify.
Yep, so the theme here, these are all going to change the actual colors here, and they're unique themes, but they are standard. Whereas the custom, that applies to the style sheet. So once you choose custom, they apply all of this. So yeah, I'll get all of my descriptions over to you as well. That will be, I think, helpful to you. Okay, so we do have those settings here. And then we have user management. And so this is where you'll go to set up your users, to enroll staff based on a single user. So all of the users are listed here. On the right-hand side, we have a few different options for your staff. I'm actually going to go to a learner here. Switch user is one of my, I use this every single day. So if you click switch user, now you're actually logging in as that student. You're viewing exactly what they see. It's a chance to see what they're working on. If they have questions or if they're confused about where to go, you can log in as them and actually view everything that they see. You see that the staff has 50% complete. So he's completed half of the mandated reporting training, has the Maltreatment of Minors Act and test to go. And you can go in and see just what they're seeing. If you're done, ready to go back, yeah, you can switch back, and that switches you right back to that admin view. So I found that to be a very effective way to view a staff at a glance. You know, if I'm just wondering, you know, I hired somebody on Monday, I'm just wondering where they're at, you know, I just log in as them and it gives you a quick glance. You can do that by running reports too, but it's nice to see, you know, it feels a little bit like spying on them, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. From there, so then we have that switch user, then we have the courses icon. When we click on that, that's going to show us what courses they're enrolled in. And again, be wary of that drop feature. And if we need to enroll them, just click enroll in new course, and we can add any of the courses that are currently available. One thing to note too, like I said, we're always building new courses. Anytime we have a new course coming, we will send an email with an announcement for that new course, and you'll see it kind of pop up in the full course library when that is released. So changes to your library are always going to come to you through email. So if there's, I know we have a couple people Leanne has been speaking with on that list of contacts, but if there's anybody else you'd like to add to the contacts, just provide an email and I'll make sure that any of those announcements get out to you.
Okay. Can you also enroll them in an entire portfolio?
Yes. So you'll still have to click add next to each of those. We do have bulk enrollments, which will allow you to enroll entire groups of people in multiple courses. So one more icon here is the far right is edit. So this is where you'd go to reset a password. Staff sometimes forget their passwords. I mean, I think we all do. And you would just create a new password and provide that to them. So that's the last feature there. But yes, to enroll multiple courses or multiple students, you can go to user training settings. And here, this is where we have those job titles, the sites, and the cost centers. So let's say I want everyone who has the House A job title, site assigned to them enrolled in a specific course. I could click Edit. And let's say I have to have them all in the annual training. And then hit Save. Now I can just click Enroll Current Users, and that will enroll everyone who has that site designation into those courses. It's a really helpful way to enroll just everybody all at once. And for right now, we do have a new feature coming that we've just requested, that we have an Enroll Current Users button on each training setting. Right now, we just have the one, and so we always have to go back in and unselect anything after we've enrolled everyone. The reason for that is if you create a new person now who has the House A designation, they will also be enrolled in those courses. When this changes, when we have an Enroll Current Users button on each section, that will allow us to just select that one. So we don't necessarily have to go through and uncheck everything. When your site is set up too, we will
wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
What if we wanted to enroll everybody at House A in the core portfolio? Can we do that?
Yeah. So that would be back under Sites. And again, you would just edit.
Maybe
and so if you want yeah, so then you would just select that.
Okay, okay, got it.
Yeah. And then we also do have, when we create your site, we always create a cost center for your company name. And every student is automatically enrolled in that cost center. And the reason for that is there are times you might want all of your staff to take a particular course. Maybe it's our communications course or a diagnosis-specific course. You know, a number of different reasons why you might want everybody in the company enrolled in a course. And that way you have a cost center, a way to do that, and enroll everybody at once. Any questions on those training settings or setting up users?
I do have a question about that. So we were talking about, you know, with our staff that we have on. So what I was doing kind of when I went through the training is just to try to look and see kind of what we have and don't have. Our training is actually pretty on point when it comes to, it's just kind of more in pieces than, do you know what I mean? So it's a little set up a little different, but it's all there. So we're wondering about, you know, I mean, having all of the staff set up as enrolled and having to start over from the beginning. So does every person that we have on as staff now need to get in there and take all of the beginner courses? Or what do you do normally about that?
Nope, I wouldn't see any reason for that. If you're saying that they've all had their orientation at some point, I mean, you might have somebody working for you for the past 5 years. If they took their orientation, nope, that still counts as their orientation. This is just a different set of orientation for your new staff going forward, and annual training for, you know, staff as they complete their annual training. What I would recommend is taking those training records that you have, kind of deciding how far back you might want to go, and inputting that information into an import so that all of that past information can also be stored here on the site. So those trainings would all be applied as offline trainings, but no, there's no reason for your staff to have to go through all of the orientation training again.
And then I have another question. On that first page of that list, and then this is probably off topic, but on the first page that lists the courses, it has the med course as a course 3.5, which I'm guessing is the online portion. And then when we talked about, or when I looked at the list of things that were offered, it did say that there was a skills portion or, you know, on-site, offline portion that needed to be done, and that you guys have that or offer that.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Where do I get that from?
That's a great question. So the MEDS, you're correct, the MEDS administration course online, that's just the online course. And then staff do need to complete a demonstration to demonstrate their competency in passing MEDS. That demonstration can be done by anyone at your company, does not have to be a registered nurse. And we have a checklist available for you that provides exactly what you would need to go through in demonstrating that competency. So I'll make sure that comes out to you as well. So your staff, someone who's already been trained in MEDS can facilitate the demonstration with that staff. We certainly do have a live training course just for the demo here at STAR, if you're interested in sending your staff here for an additional cost, but it's just as easily something you can do on site.
That's probably what we will do, but I just wanted to find out if there was a checklist just for documentation, because everything then would jive with each other, I would assume. And then as well as crisis prevention intervention or some sort of programming of that sort, I'm sure you have, that also would have a skills or demonstration process with it.
Yep, so for the UMR, for your positive sports rule core, there is a demonstration to that part that we don't have a checklist for at this time. It's just something that's so physical, it's really hard to put into words or onto paper, a demonstration. We have an EUMR demo here, or someone at your site who's been trained in those holds can facilitate those holds and do the demonstration with a staff there. That's again entirely up to you, but if you have someone or you have already been trained on those holds, you can have do that demonstration and just document that yourself. And the hold demo is only, go ahead.
I'll let you finish before I ask.
The holds demo is only required if your policies and procedures indicate that you allow holds. If your policies and procedures specify that you do not allow holds, you don't have to do the demo.
Okay.
So those courses
does
that answer your question, Mindy?
Yes.
Okay.
So those courses that are kind of two-piece, so the online and in-person, is the in-person portion already a course in here that we can check off completed, or if it's in-person, we need to create that and then make sure it's documented that they took it? Okay.
Yep, would create that. And that would just be, again, going to the homepage into training settings or offline training and building that. Offline reportings, and then just click add new. Okay. And usually, you know, your MEDS demo, your EUMR demo, you're looking at 15, 20 minutes, 15, half an hour maybe, depending on how extensive you need to be. But
good.
Any other questions? Okay. The other pieces here from the admin tab that I think are especially applicable, we have reports. If you choose to print certificates, it's kind of hit and miss. Some companies really love having those certificates and either print them or file them away, and sometimes the training records are just enough. So it's entirely up to you. We do have certificates available for all of our courses, though. This site has a lot of information, so it takes a long time to pull this page up. But once it does, you can search for certificates to find a student or a course or kind of a certain date range to find any certificates that are available. You can also just click add. These are all new certificates that have not yet been viewed. We click add and it adds them to the print queue. We can click print, and that's actually going to pull up all of the certificates that are available here. These are helpful. I know that we've had a few licensing visits recently where the licensor was unfamiliar with STAR, and they just wanted to know what topics were covered in a specific course. And that's where the certificates can come in really handy, because you can pull a report or pull a certificate based on a certain person or a course, and the description of that course, including everything that's covered, is written right there on the certificate. For the most part, many licensors do know us. They do know STAR. I can't promise that everyone will, but we've had a lot of reports recently that the licensor came, they knew STAR, and it just kind of made that, checking off the training portion of their visit that much easier.
Yeah, those certificates are kind of cool. I don't suppose we can brand those. I think that might be a little more difficult. Oh, cool.
Yeah, you sure can. For the certificate print style, I think you guys are the first person to even ask me that. So that's awesome. I like to hear that. We really like to see people who actually kind of want to take the site and make it work for them a little bit more than just the basics. So we have a custom certificate here. This is our basic certificate that we've created, but you can also add a new certificate. So a couple of different options, but feel free to play around with that and create a certificate to your liking.
Cool.
Let's see. A lot of these other reports, you'll kind of learn as you work into them. Student engagements can be a good one depending on your policy for staff and when they can complete their trainings, if you allow staff to complete them off-site, or if you prefer staff not do their training during work hours. Your engagement report is actually going to display where a student was at any given time. So what page were they on, what were they working on, and if they were working during a shift that they weren't supposed to be. So that can be really helpful to you as well. And then kind of the last piece we always go over, and we're really excited about this feature only because in the previous version, this option was much more cumbersome than it is now. Advanced was really able to streamline it for us. It's actually a course build wizard. And so what this means is if you want to build your own course, maybe you want to build a course based on your policies and procedures, or we have some companies who have actually built courses around each person they support, and it includes their one-page profile, CSSP, things like that. You could do that here using the Course Build Wizard. And it's as simple as creating, selecting a term, entering a course, so we call it a course name for now. And your advanced settings allow you to choose an introduction video, logo, or icon specific to the course. If we want to issue a certificate, and we can even apply the training, the certificate hours, or the certificate credit, and we hit next, and you just follow these directions right on through. We do want to have a test, we do want to have lessons, next, and then we can create a test, and then it prompts you to create lessons, and you can have a PDF, a video, a YouTube video, links to an external site, really any kind of content that you would want to have, you can add here as your lesson content. It really gives you a lot of options to customize your own courses and build them really quickly. So we're happy to have this new feature, and it's really step by step.
Yeah, this is great. I think we'll definitely have our company policies in here.
Yeah, that's one that I've really seen take off recently. As people have gotten used to this Course Build Wizard, it just gives you a chance to build courses exactly how you want them. I will say you do definitely want to have a test. Sometimes it feels like, oh, let's just put the policies up there and call it good. You have to have a test in order to generate a certificate or a training record. But when it's policies and procedures, we always recommend just add a test question as an acknowledgement. By selecting yes, I acknowledge that I have reviewed this training, that kind of thing. Apply 100 points to that question, and that way when the student selects it, they're getting 100 points, and they pass the test and they generate a training record. And also, you apply the hours, how long it takes, so it applies their training hours as well. Yeah, we're really happy about that feature. It's been a long time coming, and we've worked a lot closely with Advanced to customize and refine what this Course Build Wizard would look like. So I hope it'll be helpful to you, and if you have questions as you're building something, let us know, but it's really quite, intuitive. We're very happy with it. So, and at this
I just
point,
wanted to
go ahead.
I just wanted to kind of just throw out some of the things that I kind of heard, and I was just listening, of course, with a extra keen ear on some of the admin duties, the things that I will need to kind of be aware of in addition to, or at least to start with the training piece for staff. And that I wanted to see what I kind of have on my list here and see if that's accurate. So, we talked about the watching for updates. Updated information will update on the information that is existing, but it won't update any information that we have added. So that might be necessary to, of course, admin. Enrolling staff, updating the enrollment on staff, and those types of things. Checking staff dashboards, we're able to do that. And then in addition, or like for new staff. Yeah. And in addition to that, enrolling them in the courses that are necessary for them at the time. And of course, with the med class and, the ones that that need demonstrations, just making sure we're creating the demonstration offline lessons so they can be credited for those through that system. And then, of course, building systems for policies and persons served, or in addition, I was thinking we do sometimes have outcomes or paperwork classes that we go over so that everybody knows what it is they're doing and why. And so I could adding that as another lesson for certain individuals. So I think those are what I've got so far for admin duties. Of course, the designing of the web page, that's all Duffy. I don't do that. But I think that's so great. I wanted to say that I really thought that the admin was going to be maybe more detailed or complicated in some way, but it seems like it's going to be not too terribly hard with the ability to upload Excel documents and all that. That doesn't seem like it's going to be that difficult.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It's, with any new system, there's a learning curve. And, you're coming in, and I think some of our existing customers who are seeing a transition from an older system to a more refined system here, it's a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of options here that they didn't have before. A lot of them, most of our customers don't really use, but you're really welcome to explore. As far as the basic, your enrollments, you're adding a new staff, those kind of things, those are very easy to do and get into. And even, on our end, we've only scratched the surface of what the system can do and has potential for. So as we learn, we will certainly announce that. And I appreciate, that you're sharing that you're a little bit more tech savvy and interested in digging a little bit deeper. So, you might be the first one to hear.
We're willing to be guinea pigs.
That would be great.
Yeah, yeah, we are.
And I know we're kind of running short on time, but a quick question on devices or browsers that we need to look out for. Does this pretty much run on everything, or anything particular we need to know there?
Nope. I prefer running it on Chrome. The look and feel is a little bit different on both Firefox and Edge, but it works the same. It works on all mobile devices. Actually, one of the major features with this upgrade is the ability to transition from mobile device to desktop very, very easily. So the mobile site is much more robust, much more user-friendly. So across all platforms and across all browsers, we haven't seen any major problems. That's a great question.
And so after this, I'm sorry, I know we're going a little long, but after this is over, then the emails will come. You will be sending me emails, and I kind of was keeping track of that a little bit with a spreadsheet that I can use to enroll staff. Is that correct? So I can add the information that's necessary, and they will all be added at the same time.
Absolutely. When we set up your site, so here after our call today, it might be tomorrow, I will send you an import spreadsheet that you can start filling out. Once you have that, just send that back over to me. And what we'll do is when we set up your site, I won't do the branding, I'll just do kind of the basic star branding for you. But when we set that up, I'll get those staff imported for you first, so they're automatically in the system already. And that'll just kind of alleviate one step for you, especially when it's 84 staff. You don't really want to add those one by one.
No, you really don't. All right,
Yeah,
I
so
think that, that's great.
Here before the site will be ready, but we will let you know as soon as it's ready. And we can certainly do another go-to meeting, or if you just want to dive in, you can do that too. But we're really looking forward to having you guys on board. And if there are features as you're using the system, please let me know if there are features that you think would be improved or wish it could do this. Advance is very responsive. Our developer is very responsive at, helping us build what we need it to do. And with customers like you who really know what you want out of the system, it's helpful to be able to pass that on. So feel free to let us know if you ever have suggestions, and we can certainly consider them and pass them on to the developer.
Yeah, we'll start a list as we go through.
Please do.
Can I continue to do training? I can continue to do trainings, right? Okay. That's all I want to know.
Yep, absolutely. Let me know if you have other questions in the meantime, and we will be in touch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Yep, bye-bye.